Protesters flocking to the U.S. Capitol building Wednesday as pressure builds on lawmakers to do something to respond to the death of George Floyd.
The truth is, while speeches and protests are vital, they will never be enough.
Returning to the Hill this week, some Senate Democrats have already proposed ideas to tackle the problem, such as creating a national registry of police misconduct.
But I'll be damned if we don't at least try to make some progress.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer calling on Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to commit to bringing a law enforcement reform bill to the Senate floor by the 4th of July. On the House side, led by the Congressional Black Caucus, legislation is being drafted to ban chokeholds.
The array of legislation includes any kind of use of violence that stops the flow of blood to the brain.
While Democrats are pushing for broad change, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's not committing yet to any legislation and is still considering whether or not lawmakers should play a role in this.
There is no law that can be passed to fix this.
Some argue systematic racism can't be fixed with the passage of bills. Several Republican senators saying it would be too political for Congress to get involved and the issue should be left to the states.
So this is something that we've been wrestling with throughout our history. I don't expect that, anything will happen in the short term.
Still, many Americans remain uneasy and protests show no sign of stopping. But the political lines drawn in Congress don't appear to be wavering. In Washington, I'm Atrel Mashar reporting.
Well, we're sitting here the first week of June. Temperatures are rising, and that typically means float season is only a couple of weeks away. CBS 2's Brian Morin set out to find out if we'll have one during the pandemic and what it will take to open up at Barbara Park.
Floating the Boise River. It's an annual tradition for many who live here and a bucket list item for visitors. Workers in Ada County say they're doing the normal stuff to prepare, monitoring river flows and air temperatures. However, this year, will float season be like no other?
It's a typical preparation period for us. We do this every year. The added wrinkle, as everybody is aware, is COVID and what we can and maybe can't do with a typical season.
Floating the river seems reasonable enough during the pandemic. You show up with your family, your friends, you get your gear, hop in the river, off you go. But getting back to the park may require you to think outside the box.
Yeah, I think there are a few ways to do your float in any year. You don't necessarily have to use the shuttle. I mean, there are folks that run their own shuttle. There are folks that use bicycles or carpool and there's other alternatives.
Now, if you still need to take the bus, the county is working on a plan to make that happen.
The contractor that we use has run up to 5 shuttle buses on the busiest days of a summer season in years past, and we may have that as an option here this year to run buses more consistently and with fewer passengers.
Ada County is actually in a pretty good spot if there is such a thing during a pandemic. Float season normally opens around the first day of summer, which is about 3 weeks away. Officials are keeping a close eye on what's happening in the community during the Idaho Rebounds plan.
I do feel that we have sort of the benefit of watching some other similar types of businesses and entities reopen, yes, in stage 3 and stage 4, where you expect larger groups of folks to kind of congregate, water parks and splash pads and similar types of activities. I hope that we'll learn some things from those openings and what those folks do and what works and maybe what doesn't work.
Brian Morin, CBS 2 News.
A virtual meeting tonight over the future. What will Ada County look like in 30 years? And how will we handle all of the expected growth? CBS 2's Erica Lee has a rundown on what was discussed.
By 2050, it is estimated that 1.1 million people will live in Ada and Canyon counties. That's over double the present population. More people will mean more growing pains, overcrowded schools, backed up roads, higher home prices, and a loss of a sense of place for longtime residents. Ada County and Compass, Idaho are starting to plan now for the next 30 years.
And it's almost crazy sounding, but if we reflect back on where we've been, 20 years ago, Ada County had about 300,000 people in it. And this year, 2020, we're going to tip over into 500,000.
Some of the ideas brought up in tonight's meeting include expanding public transportation, including a new and efficient bus system on State Street. Commissioner Laciando says they're working on how growth can pay for itself.
We have the opportunity in Ada County to look at implementing development impact fees. And what that is a surcharge based on what the actual cost of new growth is that is placed onto a new development. So you build a new house, there's a surcharge on that goes toward these new services.
More meetings are planned around Ada County over the next few months. Commissioners say they want to hear from you and get your ideas on how to handle the expected growth. Erica Lee, CBS 2 News.